Go on the computer. All right, so welcome guys to ACH number, did we say number 11, number 10, number 11, one of those. Hope everyone's doing well. We've got a big 3 days ahead of us, guys. If this is your first time on one of these trainings, welcome. If you're coming back, you've probably been to all 10 or 11 of them. Good to have you back too. I want to dive straight into everything, guys. I'm just going to get my notes to make sure we start off correctly. So if this is your first training, yes, it is recorded like I mentioned, and this is a very casual training. We're all adults here. Please look after yourself. Okay, we'll have plenty of breaks, plenty of time to walk around. Just bear in mind when you get up and walk around, your camera, if it's on, it's recording. You don't want us to see what you go and do, like get a block of chocolate. You don't want people to see you eat it. Turn your camera off. If we hear any noise, Fritz will just mute you. If we get a lot of background noise, you might be talking to a partner or something like that, just to make sure the recording is nice and crisp. Housekeeping rules, guys, to get into it. Bear in mind, although it's 3 days, it looks fairly casual for any trainers will know this. It takes a lot out of trainers to teach this stuff. So over the next 3, at least 4 days, please don't message me directly, okay? Because I won't answer it. I don't want to ignore you, but I won't be answering it. If you've got questions, please type it in the group. If you're here, it must mean you're a part of the ACH group. Type it in the group, tag Min or tag Fritz, and we'll be happy to answer those things, but just bear that in mind. When it comes to getting questions, there's always a hell of a lot of questions. This is a training program. This is only 3 days. You are not going to understand any of this if it's your first time attending. You're not meant to. So don't freak out. Don't get frustrated. The live training really is a bonus on top of the trainings that you have in Kajabi. It's better to watch all those things. There's well over 200 hours in there. Be in the Facebook group, practice, just follow along. This is just about catching up with you guys, seeing some demos live, asking questions live on the spot, but you're not meant to master this. Who here's got a driver's license? Probably everybody. Did you master it the first couple of times in the car? Probably not. Took you quite a while. It's the same thing here. Don't get pissed off. Don't get frustrated. You know you've been to a good training with, at the end of this, if you turn around and say, what the fuck was that? That's all I expect. Excuse my language. That's all I expect. You're here just to witness it, create a reference point in your mind. So years later, when you hear me talk about the same thing, it'll finally click. Okay. If you're learning more traditional hypnosis, which is reading scripts, it's very easy to get because you're just reading, but we're not here for that. Okay. So when it comes to questions, guys, keep them short and we'll try and keep them maintained to what we're talking about, whether it's the hypnotic interview, it's processing, rather than me just open up questions to everything. Maybe on day 3, if we get time, I'll give everybody a good hour where you can ask me business stuff. You can ask me anything about anything. We'll do that then, but try and leave that for the end of the training. Like I said, training is only a bonus. Use the online content like I mentioned, okay? So when we do the breaks, I'll either say 10, 15, 20 minutes, whatever it is. We use the same recording. You won't have to click on a new link. It'll just keep recording. And that's pretty much it, okay? So as a whole, the best place for us to start is to realize that ACH, as the name suggests, Advanced Conversational Hypnosis. I am not going to teach you anything about hypnosis. Sorry. This is a therapy training, okay? Who here sees regular clients or are seeing clients? Has anyone ever had a client come to them and say, I want to be hypnotized? Maybe, maybe not. Who has a client coming in and saying, I've got a problem, please help me? You don't learn hypnosis to help people. You need to learn therapy. So what does that mean for us? No scripts, no timelines, no regressions, no deepeners, no sitting around doing hypnotic language with each other. There is no how to go deeper. There is no reading a script that says, as you walk along the beach, go deeper, any of that stuff. We're going to dive straight into the therapy because believe it or not, and I'll leave you with this piece and hopefully let it sort of mold in your mind over the next couple of days. You do not have to hypnotize a client in order for them to get therapy. Pretty cool, right? You will find that everything you've been taught in the past, I guarantee it, you'll never have to use again because we can just sort of escape the middleman and forget about the hypnosis part, depth, all of that stuff, suggestibility tests, all of that stuff does not matter. Believe it or not, let's say I'm working with Taryn and Taryn comes in and says, Scott, I want to quit smoking. Where I start from there is starting the therapy. And believe it or not, the hypnosis becomes secondary. It's like the icing on the cake. Okay. So who would like to never have to worry about not only reading the script, but also doing like the deepness? having a client walk down a set of stairs, suggestibility tests, telling a client what hypnosis is or isn't. Anyone can learn to do hypnosis. It's not hard. But has anyone found themselves sitting with that client? I'm sitting with Tara and thinking, okay, she is hypnotized, but she wants to quit smoking. What do I do now? Has anyone had that before? So let's just go to that place, okay? So in order to get the most out of this 3 days, it is best for you guys to let go of everything you've learned in the past. I don't care who trained you. Couldn't care less. Only you care. That's ego. Dump that. Wrap your mind around this stuff, and then later on, make your own judgment if you need to bring that old stuff back. And I'd be very happy to see that you probably won't have to ever again. Okay. Clients come for therapy. Okay. So I want to make I want to create a demarcation between therapy and hypnosis. I'm going to throw it out to you guys. What's the difference between therapy and hypnosis, or is there a difference? What do you guys think?
Well, if I may, it seems like hypnosis is almost sort of like a Band-Aid where you can put layers over it. You can do a lot with it. Maybe not a Band-Aid, so to speak, but you're actually just literally undoing a knot, like you kind of always say, and it makes a more profound difference in like the underlying foundation, how things are expressed.
Yep. I like that.
Hypnosis seems like a label for that intense focus.
Mm-hmm. So what does hypnosis do?
Treats the symptoms. It's a method.
To do what? What does it achieve?
Intense
to
focus.
Relaxation.
Relaxation, intense focus. Okay, good. These are true. I think someone said becomes centered. That's a nice one.
Like you come in contact.
Bypasses the conscious.
Yep, bypasses the conscious minds. What else? Doesn't do much, does it? Does it help someone quit smoking?
More of a tool to promote the therapy.
In what way?
Well, as we were saying, the problems lay in the subconscious mind, so you've got to bypass the conscious mind. Otherwise, they just keep fighting each other.
To do what then? So I agree with you, 100%. Want to see how deep the knowledge goes.
Find a new resource.
So, so I kind of believe that people are in conscious loops all the time. And so what hypnosis does is they get out of their own way and they can get to a solution set that will stop that loop and start healthier loops.
I agree. Now, here's where we've got to define it. Does hypnosis do that part, or does the therapy do that part?
I think the therapy does that part. The idea of hypnosis is I think, just a way to get people out of their own way.
What does that mean?
But yeah, therapy does that part. Get out of their own way.
Yeah, what does that mean? These are good, by the way. These are really good.
To me, what that means is you see a stimulus and you have an automatic trigger that happens, and you get into that automatic loop. So getting out of my way is getting me to that part of me that automatically does that stops.
Yep.
It's out of the way. And then a deeper, more all-encompassing part of me can change that reaction to something more positive and generative.
So what does the hypnosis do? You've explained therapy beautifully. So what does the hypnosis do?
It opens the door to allow the therapy to be presented.
Perfect. Hold on to that thought, guys. Okay, that's exactly where hypnosis stops and therapy starts. Now, you don't have to agree with me. I'm just trying to set a reference point so you can see when we go through ACH. We say, well, where's all the hypnosis stuff? How can I get to the same therapeutic breakthrough, but without that half an hour or an hour of fluff beforehand? Okay, that's what I'm going to have you guys look at very soon. So if hypnosis just opens this so-called doorway, and then from there, it slowly blends into therapy. Okay, would everyone agree with that? But it's sort of, they blend in so much where one is not more defined than the other. It just becomes an overriding concept. Okay, now there's nothing wrong with that. The reason I bring this up now is we spend far too long on the part that has nothing to do with the breakthrough. If all it did was open the door, why do I need to spend half an hour opening that door? Why don't I just open it, start the therapy? Does everyone hear my point now? I want to spend, if I've got an hour with Todd with my client, and I had a choice to spend X amount of time on hypnosis, X amount of time on therapy, I'm spending no time on hypnosis and 60 minutes on the therapy. Okay. To use your guys' definition, I might spend 30 seconds on the hypnosis and 59 minutes, 30 seconds on the therapy. Why would I choose to spend more time on therapy and less time on hypnosis when usually it's taught the other way around? Any ideas?
That's the point,
Is
to get the
That's
therapy.
the point. That's why Megan comes to us. That's why Arvis came to me. That's why Kathy came to me, to get therapy. Okay, or therapized as we call it. You don't come to me for hypnosis. Okay, so the reason I believe we spend, clients do have, one of the reasons why clients have to keep coming back over and over and over, because our time is not spent in the right places. So I'll throw this out to you guys. Who would like to never spend even 1 second on hypnosis, have more time to do the therapy, get more done in that therapeutic time, and never have to worry about, can my client be hypnotized ever again? Has anyone had that thought before? Because then the old things come back, like only, what do they say? Only dumb people, or whatever the word is, can be hypnotized. Smart people can't be hypnotized. You're more intelligent. You've got a certain depth. You've got to have the theta waves and beta wave. I can't even pronounce because I don't know any of that garbage. We don't have to worry about that stuff. Okay. Relaxation is not a prerequisite to enter this unconscious state. The idea is a client is, as Ava said to us, in a conscious and unconscious state all the time. So if Megan comes in and she's already in that state, why do I have to spend all the time putting her into trance if she's already there? That's how we live our lives, don't we? We're always a little bit of both, or one or the other, more than the other. Would everyone agree with that? Okay. So if you had an hour with clients, guys, I want to show you how to spend 60 minutes with that client and do what are called mini sessions. If I'm working with Crystal, she's booked me in to quit smoking. I could do 5 or 10 little mini sessions in 1 hour. Compared to traditionally, I now have to sell her 10 sessions. You might think, well, Scott, I'll make more money that way. No, you won't. And we'll talk about that on day 3. Okay. So the way we look at it, guys, hopefully I can show you this as you go through. You definitely see this on the recording, is I'm not interested in fixing one problem. I'm interested in what Erickson was talking about, changing someone's entire personality. Okay. As Ivan just mentioned before, using processing, allowing time to fold and collapse on itself. So by the time you catch up with the client 6 months from now, is giving you a testimonial, you don't even recognize this person. Does that make sense? Okay. So let me ask you this, guys, as a whole. Why do we have problems and where do they exist? Let's get this out of the way now. Let's get the theory done. Why do we have problems?
In the mind.
In the mind. So we definitely
Because
have.
we're alive.
Because we're alive. We're human beings. Yes. Anything else? Why do we have problems?
Anything we're
comparing.
dissatisfied with becomes a problem.
Yeah, definitely dissatisfaction. Like they have that and I don't, and that's now a problem. So, yep, absolutely.
I think it's the solution that we came to no longer remedies the situation.
Beautiful.
So,
yeah, something that served us a long time ago no longer serves us, and that becomes a problem. Yep.
Very often I encounter people that they're actually looking for problems. It must be from my past.
Yeah.
I feel dissatisfied in the present, so I have to look and look and look
Yeah.
and look.
Damn human beings. We're a complex species.
Very.
Where do our problems exist? Where exactly?
The unconscious mind.
Back there somewhere, yeah? Okay. Now I'm going to use the word unconscious mind because I prefer it. You can call it subconscious, superconscious, inner child conscious. I don't care. It's all the same thing. Realize none of it really exists. It's just a model to explain how we have problems that we cannot remedy, that we don't even know where they started, and it becomes a problem trying to solve those things consciously. Okay. So if our problems exist back there, and in most times we can't access those until we're sitting in front of a very skilled therapist, why is it so hard to fix our problems? Who's tried to fix a problem before? And this is hypnosis therapy 101. Yes, inner child talking is forbidden. You'll be kicked out of the group. No, I'm joking. Why is it
Because
hard
the
to
I think
credit
we
is
come up with too many
unconscious.
excuses.
Too many excuses?
We look into
It's hard to
this
solve a problem if you're not sure what the problem is.
Let's hold on to that. Trying to solve the problem, you don't even know what the problem is. Okay. Let's say, let me pick on somebody else. Kel comes in and says, I want to quit smoking. What has Kel just told me right now?
Symptom.
The symptom.
Symptom. And it's always funny when I bring this up because I see people on social media or even other therapists say, oh, Scott, I hate doing stop smoking clients. I don't know how you did it for so long. Do you guys want to know the secret? I never, ever, ever did one. Why? Because that is their symptom. Who's seen anxiety clients before? You're all liars. You never have. You're not fixing anxiety. Who's seen a weight loss client before? You're all liars. See where I'm going with this? Everything or anything that your client brings to you is a symptom. What do we mean by symptom? Because I'm going to use this word a lot.
An expression,
The expression of the problem.
It's an expression of the problem. What are the chances your client knows exactly that that's the problem? Impossible. Now, if we go into a session, let's say Kat goes into a session thinking, okay, my client says I have anxiety, and my mentor told me that all anxiety exists from childhood trauma. I know what to do. Who believes Kat's now lying to herself? I do. Because she's presuming something that she has no idea about, and neither does your client. So guys, get excited about this, that you'll never have to ever treat anxiety, stop smoking, whatever the other ones are, I can't think. All of those, okay? Now, we'll define later on, if you've got questions about should I work with heavier problem stuff, we'll talk about that, but that's more the safety for you and your clients more than anything else, so we'll get to that. So one other thing I want you to drop is, if you've been told by other mentors, I don't care who they are, that tell you all anxiety exists because of X, Y, and Z, let that go. Because if you go into a session starting to steer the session towards your way, what are you now doing? You're now believing your client's lies. And your clients will lie to you because they don't know any better. When Todd tells me his problem, he's giving me examples, he's giving me conclusions, he's giving me a fancy name, backwards rationalization. What is he doing? He's just guessing. And if I guess along with him, no wonder I need to see him 20 times. He's over here trying to explain this problem, and I'm over here trying to put a Band-Aid on his knee when he's got a head wound. Make sense? Okay. So from there, what do we do with this? Okay. We're already here at screaming for some sort of therapy. Now, I'm also going to be the person to say, you do not need to put a client into hypnosis to get access to the unconscious mind. Doesn't that save us a lot of time? Would anyone like to see how do we do this without doing all that other stuff? Okay. For that, we transition straight into my favorite part of any training, which is the hypnotic interview. Okay. Now, hypnotic interview is just a fancy name to find who's heard this before. Find the root cause. Who's heard that before? I'm not going to use that word because I hate it because it's got too many connotations. I'm going to introduce you something called an unconscious payoff. Please write that down if you want to. Unconscious payoff. The reason Megan has a problem is because there is an unconscious payoff. And as Ava said before, which is spot on, at the time when Megan had that problem, the unconscious mind tries to fix it. It suited her then. But 2 years later, it no longer suits her. Now she has a problem stacked on top of a problem. And heaven forbid we as human beings have more than one problem in our life. It just stacks and stacks and stacks and stacks. Okay? So let's get into the therapy portion of this. Okay? When I'm sitting down with a client, the first place I start is here. Now, I'm going to discount the strategy call, the sales, the social media. I'm talking about Megan sitting in front of me. She's already paid me. We're good to go. Every session I work on, every session I work with a smoking anxiety, doesn't matter. It's all conclusions and symptom anyway. I start in the same place, which is, what's the problem? Every session. Male, female, young, old, problem, doesn't matter. Why am I starting here, guys? And believe it or not,
To start,
what's the problem is the most hypnotic language pattern you could ever learn. And I'll explain to you and show you why. Okay, so why do we start here? What are we doing?
the process of being heard.
Start the process of being heard.
It's, guess I'm going
Start
back
where
in.
you are.
I need to find out where she is. As in, where are you inside your minds? I'm also saying to her in layman's terms, all right, tell me all your lies. Everything she's about to tell me, 95, 97, 98%, and we all know what statistics are, okay, they're just numbers, is going to be an absolute lie. It's bullshit. Why? Why is she going to lie to me about what her problem is?
She doesn't know
I don't
anything.
know.
It's just illusions.
Pretty simple, right? She doesn't know. How could she know? If she knew, she wouldn't have to see us. Does that make sense?
Mhm.
So where the traditionals would start, traditionalists, we'll call them over there, which was previously you guys, where would they start? Close your eyes, relax, get a halo of white light around you. Here's a blanket, sit there, breathe in and out. 30 minutes later, me as a therapist have got a hoarse voice because I've been talking so much. And we're still bothering trying to open the door when it's already open as soon as I ask the question, what's the problem? So I asked Megan, what's the problem? Where does she have to go to retrieve even the lies she's about to tell me? Where does she have to go inside of her mind?
Unconscious mind.
Or below.
Yeah. But hang on, whoa, hang on. We're going too fast here. Isn't that where trance is? Don't we have to open the door with 30 minutes of relaxation? But asking her the problem, I'm killing many birds with one stone. Where is her focus right now when I ask her that question? Out or in?
In.
Didn't someone say inner focus or being inner centered for hypnosis? It's already doing that. If you want to use some layman's terms, it's a very, very light trance. I've got her focus, and that's all hypnosis is. I'm asking her about her problem. She has to go unconscious. Why? To retrieve the words to answer my question. Where were those words before she needed them? Conscious or unconscious?
Conscious.
Going to be a bit of both. Believe it or not, when we're speaking to people, it's a mixture of conscious and unconscious information. And I'll prove all these points, guys. I don't just want to talk about it. So I say, Megan, what's the problem? She says, well, you know what, Scott? I want to quit smoking. Yeah, that's what I want to do. Great. So in a roundabout way, she's told me smoking is a problem. Now, I know as a therapist, I can just ignore all that because it's all a lie. That's what she wants, symptom-based. Now, we all know as therapists, we have to find that pesky thing called root cause or unconscious payoff. So I need more information from her. I'm going to go, okay, what makes you want to quit smoking? Where does she have to go to find that information? Back to that place. Okay, so by definition, if I keep asking her questions, she goes in, out, in, out. What do we know this as when it comes to traditional therapy or traditional hypnosis? Who's heard of fractionation? It's all it's doing. But I'm also hypnotizing her, if you want to, without her knowing, but I'm also finding this root cause thing. How the hell do I know what to fix until she tells me? I don't put her into hypnosis and then say, you're a non-smoker, you can breathe easily, blah, 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 you no longer taste tobacco. Because what am I doing? Dealing with the symptom. So if your script says stop smoking script to the top, tear it up because you're now treating the symptom. If you're wondering why you have to see a client 6 times, you're treating the symptom. We call it spinning around the symptom. Okay, so here's what happens. I have this conversation. I'll show you guys what to listen for, what to look for, how to feed the information. We'll get to all of that. This is just the first 20 minutes of me talking right now. In, out, in, out. Over time, what do you think is going to happen to Megan's brain or mind if I have her doing so much mental activity? What do you think is going to happen?
She's going to stick back in her.
Exhaustion.
Exhaustion takes over. Confusion. Hang on, isn't confusion a symptom of hypnosis? But we're not doing hypnosis. See where we're going with this, guys? The therapy is doing the hypnosis for us. Then what's going to happen? We're going to stumble across this little golden nugget where Megan goes, oh my God, I just figured it out. And she's going to be stuck there looking at the ceiling and dribbling on herself. We call this letting the cake, like the cake in the oven, we're letting it cook. She's going to sit there. I don't have to talk. She can just stare off into the distance. Cogs are turning around in her head because she's finally realized what the reality is. Then she's going to pop out of it, and we're going to do it again and again and again. And all these little mini sessions that we do is going to collapse all these things. Thus, we have a therapized person without ever having to tell a client to close their eyes, without ever having to sound like an idiot and using language patterns. No timelines, no regressions, no inner child healing, no fucking reframing your client's problem. It's a big thing I'm saying. Don't I have to reframe my client's problem? No. Because now you're telling them what to do. Who likes to be told what to do? Nobody. How the fuck would you know what's best for your clients? They know. Okay? So if this is what it looks like in a timeline, what does it look like in reality? Okay? What I want to do is get into the hypnotic interview. The therapist I'm going to ask to do this, I'll coach you along.